No selfies, no phones. This is a speaker in front of you who's a live human being who needs your support, folks. There you go.
Okay, so have you guys ever drawn a picture, wrote an essay, or you've done a speech?
Yeah.
And at the end, you've been criticized for it. Your art is terrible. Your art doesn't relate to me. Well, an iconic individual named Bill Cosby once said, I don't know what the key to success is, but the key to failure is trying to please everyone. So what he really means by that is, don't stretch yourself too thin, trying to please the masses. Instead, focus on a certain audience that you want to put all your attention to. It's a terrible thing to start categorizing yourself into a certain thing. Take Kanye West. You know, he's gone into music, now into clothing, and I don't know what else he's gonna do, but it's gonna be great. All right? It's a terrible thing to start limiting yourself just because of an audience that tells you something else, something you don't really agree with. And that's another thing. You have to find what you're really creative about. That's why he says the key to success is being good at one thing. Being the best you can be in that certain category. With art, you really want to draw in your best of ability, right? You want to have the best brushstrokes, and you would go online, research more about art, look at more art. And that really brings your ethos into mind. And most people would criticize you that because you don't have a certain views, certain viewpoints, and you seem to get lost in the world. And that's what Bill Cosby said, you have to have a certain objective of yourself and not care about what any other person says. But it's also a good thing to take those criticisms and open them, study them, expand on them. Why would they criticize you? You have to really look into why would they say something like that, and go deep into their mind. And from that point, that's when you know that's not really a criticism. That's more of an opinion, something you have to take in heart. With Bill Cosby being an iconic movie star, he for sure had a lot of criticism in his life. Most people would say he would never become an actor in anything because he was black. And that's not something that should really affect you in any way. That should be something that should motivate you, instead of being something that deters you from what you're really trying to strive for. Success is one thing, but achieving success is another. And Bill Cosby did achieve the success with a lot of plateaus in his career, but he did achieve what he really wanted to do, which would become an actor. Thank you, guys.
You do the best. You gotta do it.
All right, Eduardo, I thought you started off pretty well with the use of the situation and the idea of criticism applying to the speeches that you were giving. For instance, that worked, I thought, well at getting the audience on your side. Your topic ID was pretty clear. I'm not exactly sure what the supporting points are. I mean, you do have a preview, but they're so abstract that it doesn't really seem to develop and lead us down a very clear path. I thought that was problematic. In the body of the speech, you find a lot of things to talk about. I like the idea that you're starting off with Kanye as an illustration, okay, and it sounds like you're saying he's successful because he diversified. But in your second point, it's like you make almost exactly the opposite position, that the only way to be successful is to specialize and focus on one thing. And I'm going, well, wait a second, how does that fit together with what you were just talking about? And then on the last point, you really just start talking about Cosby, and it feels sort of random as to what you were saying there, just like you're struggling to find something to fill the time, as opposed to you've really got something that you've put together here and these things all fit together. It's just, well, it's a topic, so I'll talk about that. And I think that that's problematic. Your voice is okay, it projects okay, there's reasonable variety in it. It could probably be a little bit more energetic at times. Pacing is awkward. Sometimes it does feel Gesundheit, like you're slowing down without any particular reason. You have a tendency to keep your hands up a little bit like this. It's, I don't know. It wasn't distracting to me, but sometimes maybe it's a little T-Rex type. Get your hands up that sort of, and when you drop them, I heard you smack your coat 2 or 3 times during the presentation. I thought, oh, there's an obvious point. It's like you're making an emphasis point and indicating something, but I'm not sure that it was really connected with anything that you were talking about, and rather just seemed like it was maybe a nervous gesture. There's a little bit of swaying, a little bit of movement that might be anxiety coming out. I think you could be in more control. It wasn't just super distracting. It wasn't a big problem, but something to pay attention to. Your facial expressions, they aren't always connected with what you're talking about. I think you need to have be a little bit more engaged with those kinds of things. I thought it was interesting that you talked about Bill Cosby that whole last minute and didn't say anything about his current situation and circumstances. And instead you talked about something else, which I guess probably fits a little better with what the theme that you had was, but I'm not exactly sure that either of them fit that well. It just, like I said, it felt like it was a topic that suddenly dropped in there at the end. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.